Hello friends, today we see mineral nutrient uptake. Several theories had been suggested to explain mineral ion uptake in the plants. These theories are based on the requirement of energy for the process. There are two theories, passive theories and active theories. In passive theories, we will see diffusion, facilitated diffusion, cation exchange and donor equilibrium. In active theories, we will see role of cell membrane and carrier mediated uptake. The passive theories support that no energy is required for mineral ion uptake. Active theories support that some metabolic energy is required for the ion uptake in plants. Now we first see the passive uptake. For passive uptake, there is no requirement of metabolic energy. Diffusion. Diffusion is explained by Biggs and Robert. The movement of mineral ions into the root occurs by the process of diffusion. Molecules or ions diffuse from a region of their higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration. As these substances diffuse, they exert a pressure called diffusion pressure. The movement of mineral ions into root cells as a result of diffusion is called passive absorption. In both these processes, movement of ions is bidirectional and there is no accumulation of mineral ions in the cell against concentration gradient. Both these processes do not require energy and therefore they are passive. Now we will see simple diffusion. When concentration of ions in soil is more than the concentration of ion in root hair cell, the mineral ions migrate from soil, diffuses into root through soil solution. Small pores on the root present in lipoproteinaceous plasma membrane. This migration of mineral ions is along the concentration gradient. Flow of mineral ions will automatically stop when the concentration of soil and the root cell will become equal. This process is not affected by temperature or metabolic activities. Now, second is facilitated diffusion. This is second type of diffusion in which mineral ions enter the root cells through the special protein channels and not through the lipid portion of the cell membrane. The uptake of ions through the special protein channels across the cell membrane is called facilitated diffusion. According to this concept, the ions are transported across the membrane by a carrier protein. The mineral ions combine with the carrier before they move to and fro across the membrane by thermal diffusion. Cation exchange. In soil, minerals are present in the form of ions. Cations like K, that is potassium, magnesium, calcium, iron, manganese, copper and zinc, and cobalt are oscillating around the surface of growing roots hair. They are absorbed by root hairs. During absorption, cation exchange with hydrogen ions present on root surface. Due to such cation exchange, the ions of minerals are absorbed with greater speed and greater amount than normal diffusion. Now, the last one is donor equilibrium. As in the diagram, certain fixed ions present in the cell sap. There is definite cooperation between fixed non-diffusible ions and electrically charged diffusible ions to control electrochemical equilibrium. Fixed ions can go across the membrane to maintain internal balance. They require additional amount of electrically opposite charge ions. By this process, additional ions, either positive or negative, are absorbed. Such absorption is responsible for accumulation and increasing concentration of absorbed ions in the cell. Now, objections to passive uptake theory. Number one, in actual process of absorption of minerals, the rate of uptake of ion is very rapid, and simple passive absorption, this is not possible. Number two, there is no sufficient explanation for absorption and accumulation of mineral ions against concentration gradient. Number three, with the help of many experiments, it has been proved that uptake of mineral ions is closely related to some important metabolic processes of respiration, that is mineral uptake and aerobic respiration is closely related. Now we will see the second type is active uptake. Active transport process is unidirectional and accumulate ions across the concentration gradient. The active transport system in the membranes are called pumps. In the cell membrane, enzyme H plus ATPase or proton pumps are present. The plasma membrane ATPase hydrolyzes ATP and use the release energy to pump protons from one side of membrane to other side against concentration gradient. In addition to proton pumps, the plasma membrane shows presence of pumps for many other ions such as pump for K plus, that is potassium ion, pump for calcium ion, pump for chlorine ion, pump for the sodium ions, pump from the chlorides. In both the types, pumps drives ions only in one specific element and in one direction. The cell membrane also shows presence of exchange pump, sodium potassium exchange pump. Now we see the carrier mediated uptake theory. During uptake of mineral nutrients, binding of nutrient ion to carrier protein takes place and ion carrier complex is formed. For formation of such complex molecule, activation of carrier protein is essential. Ion carrier complex moves from one side of the membrane to other side of the membrane and then ion is released and added in the cytoplasm. After release of ion, carrier protein gets reverted into its original structure. Carrier is activated and again return back to its original surface, that is outer surface. Such activated carrier is again utilized for transport of another ion from outside into cell. Thank you.